All right, we're live. Anyway, I just want to start off by saying, let me correct some things. Last time we had this conversation, I'm pretty much going to go over the same things this time, but last time Jeranism wasn't there and also would prefer if it was just me and him. Fair enough, I said, let's do this. Anyway, Jeranism, I'm assuming you saw the last video that I uploaded, correct?
The Falcon 9?
Correct.
Yep.
And so I guess the first question is, can you not just be happy for them? Does everything have to be a hoax or a giant conspiracy or something like that?
That they've already landed it.
Yeah, they landed the Grasshopper, which wasn't an orbital rocket, but it was made to test the concept. That landed, but that's not a Falcon 9. That's a Grasshopper.
9 isn't orbital, is it?
The Falcon 9 is an orbital, yes, but they never landed it. They never successfully landed that rocket. They did a soft landing in water, but you can't recover that because water.
Right.
And another thing that they did was they said, okay, well, screw the water. Let's try to do a barge. They tried to land on a barge. That didn't work. It toppled over, blew up. And they said, okay, well, let's go ahead and try and land it on land this time. CRS-7 came around, and it blew up mid-flight because of a strut failure. And I remember you had a nice, lovely field day with that one. And
where was the audience for that one? Why wasn't there the big hoopla that there was for this one?
What do you mean hoopla? I was there.
You were, okay, I'm talking about the hoopla of people at the SpaceX facility, the whole pomp and circumstance with announcers. And I mean, they knew it was going to land. This is all ahead of time planned.
You do realize this was a return to flight mission? Return to flights are usually a big deal for any spacefaring company.
Yeah, but didn't you just say that the one that blew up was the same thing?
The one that blew up was attempting to land on a barge. The one that blew up was the most sophisticated first stage, but as we figured out, the first stage wasn't the problem. It was the second stage that was the problem.
Right, and according to Elon Musk, the reason that they were trying to land it in the water first was because of safety concerns. So they couldn't land it in the water two or three times. So then they
it's a lot easier. You do realize that in order to launch, they're launching at an angle. They would first have to flip it backwards and turn back,
which they had to do, right?
Which they had to do for this one, but they wouldn't have to do it. It would be more or less a ballistic trajectory right into the barge that was 200 miles out to sea.
So
they did that a lot easier.
So which one's harder?
It would be a lot harder to come back and do what they just did.
Right. Okay. You're missing the point. All right. Anyway.
Well, what point are you trying to make? You're basically insinuating that, oh, they knew it was going to land successfully. Do you know how much work it takes to land a freaking rocket?
Well, first of all, when I say things like space is fake or that kind of stuff, I'm not saying that they can't re-land a rocket that they shot up in the air. So yeah, if you want me to be happy for them, fantastic. You launched a rocket in the sky and then landed it again. I'm impressed. Doesn't mean that it went to space. Doesn't mean that it deployed 11 satellites. I know you get upset when I say things like that I think that NASA should be able to do X, Y, or Z. You always say, oh, they have to conform to your demands. And it's not just my demands. It's 2015, and they get $18.5 billion a year. Yes, I know it's nothing compared to the military spending. I have a problem with that too. But the problem is, if it's our money, it's taxpayers' money, take $1 billion of that and put $500 million into a satellite, put another $250 million into the most kick-ass camera ever known to man, and then put another $250 million into the most kick-ass website anyone's ever seen, put 4K, 24-hour-a-day footage of the Earth spinning through space. It's 2015. There's no reason that we wouldn't have that. The only reason why is because they're faking it.
Of course, that's the only reason. Or it could be that they have better things to do with that billions of dollars than to disprove some retards on the internet that think the Earth is flat.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. Of course, they've already conditioned you guys to feel that way. So that's why.
Yeah, well, that's another thing you do. You jump to conclusions. You're jumping to conclusions that I was conditioned or that I was indoctrinated in some way. The thing is this: I did not arrive to these conclusions because I was indoctrinated. If what they said did not match with the observations that I have made myself, I would not believe them. But what do we see every single day? I see amateur astronomers taking images of the International Space Station in orbit. I see rocket launches, you know, every time they have one at Cape Canaveral, 2-hour drive, but so worth it. I have seen first stage, I should say, I've seen booster separation, stage separation, MECO, and fairing separation on my own camera. You know, this is stuff that, you know, they have said that they've been doing for years now, even though that it wasn't until recently that I've been able to see it directly. But now that I see it directly, there is no doubt in my mind that they're actually meaning what they're saying. So all this stuff is going on right in front of my eyes, stuff that I have had a hand in partaking in, but yet it's still fake because reasons.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is it's easy if you think math is reality. Which it isn't, and
math is reality. Everything that you do has a mathematical principle to it, or can be described using mathematics. For example, your drive to work. I could describe your entire drive to work using nothing but mathematics.
How about my body? How about fire? Can you describe fire mathematically?
I can describe fire mathematically. Do you want to know temperature or compound? Because that's also using mathematics. Oh, is your body? Hey, tell me, what's your body temperature? Is it 98.6? Is it 98.6? I forgot. Was it 98.6? I think it's 98.6. Let's go on Google and check that out. Let's see. Oh, by the way, what's your blood pressure?
I have no idea.
Is it like 80/120 or something like that? You know, a fraction, a math. And let's see. What's your blood sugar level? You made the assertion. You made the assertion that SpaceX was faking it, or this, that, and all these other stuff. But let's get back to one thing.
How about this? Can you pull up the deployment of the satellites?
Yes, I can, and I will after I do this, because I wanted to point out your comment on my video, which I'm going to do right now. So basically, it's this one right here. Now, I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to ask if you can see it, and I'm not going to continue unless you're actually viewing it. So tell me if you can see it.
Sure.
Okay, here it goes, and share screens. Okay, are you seeing my screen right now?
Yeah, now I am.
Okay, good. So this is the comment that this is the comment that I originally made my Hangout to you about. So the comment was, at 4:32, why are there fires burning to the right that go out just as the rocket lands? I don't see those in close-up views. Jeranism, for a guy that claims to know CGI when he actually sees it, you didn't recognize a transition? If you go to, this is the actual timeline of the video in question. See that? So let's see. I'm assuming I'll make this bigger so you can see it and so that everyone else who's watching can see it. So I'm assuming you mean these fires. They're not fires, they're spotlights, by the way. So you see that going on right there. And basically, as soon as this goes out, these go out along with it.
Yeah.
But you see the transition right here? I'm transitioning to the close-up clip where those lights are outside of the field of view. The reason that was done is because of this. I'll go back to the timeline here. Audio quality. My zoomed-in camera has better audio quality than the wide view camera that I had.
Okay, so those lights are spotlights?
Those lights are spotlights. They're just lights. They're just lights. They're not fires. They're not anything going with butane or anything like that. In fact, I actually have a close-up image of them here somewhere. Hang on one second.
So when the rocket lands, they turn on spotlights.
Right there. No, those lights were always on. Where are those lights? I have no fucking idea, but I know one thing, they're not fire.
No, so what I'm saying is when that thing lands, they turn off.
No, they don't. When it lands, they actually stayed on.
So show me that picture again. So you're saying that's just a transition that when they go out?
Exactly. It was just a transition, which is why I'm saying if you're claiming to know CGI when you can't see a transition. See, look, this is the actual close-up image or the close-up video that transition. Now watch when this goes out to when this transition finishes.
Don't you have the rest of that video?
See how the transition finished? Now here's what I'm going to do just for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this image, or I'm going to actually just delete this clip. All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to delete it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get more of this clip. Okay. So right now we're seeing more of this shot. Okay. So now let's see what happens after the fire or after the landing is complete. Will these lights go out? Let's play it and find out. Nope, they stay on.
What is
It's
the
amazing
flash?
how it works.
Why are
What?
why are they flashing? Now go to the SpaceX feed. And watch the landing and tell me where those lights are.
You mean the SpaceX that was super close up? I was 11 miles away, by the way.
Right. No, just the normal view.
What lights are you referring to? Are you referring to the landing legs shot with the one that was taken by the helicopter, or are you talking about the SpaceX feed where it was on the ground?
The helicopter's probably a good one.
Okay, so we'll go here. And let's go to SpaceX. SpaceX. And then you go to SpaceX's channel.
You could do that full launch right there.
And it goes right here. This is the landing legs.
Okay, so where are these spotlights that you're looking at? Nowhere near this?
No, they're over on the other side. Let's go back to my video. Here's the spotlights. Okay. Hang on, back up. All right, there's the fire. This is where it happened. The spotlights are way over here. These lights have nothing to do with the landing pad. These are just lights. What for? I have no idea. It doesn't matter.
I'm asking you. Okay.
They're nowhere close to this area right here. Now keep in mind, I'm 11 miles away, so you know for a fact that these lights are far away.
Right.
So where's the hoax in my video?
I didn't say your video was a hoax.
So are you willing to
You're not filming that activity. I never said that.
Well, I'm not filming what activity?
Have I ever said you're not filming anything that's going on there?
You said that, quote, you're going to debunk my Atlas V launch, which still hasn't happened, quite ironically.
That one, I mean, came down. I mean, I've got tons of video footage of it definitely coming down.
No, the Atlas V did not come down. The Atlas V put shit into orbit, and I was there to see it.
You saw shit go into orbit.
Yeah, and I've even seen shit already in orbit. You may have heard of it. It's called the space station.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
You can look up and try it for yourself sometime.
Now do the deployment of the satellites, and you can tell me how you're going to back your way out of this one.
Oh, back my way out of what one?
That SpaceX has the ability to stop the moon.
Stop the moon? What the fuck are you talking about?
No.
For fuck's sake, this is so easy, a fucking kindergartner could get it. Why is it that a grown adult can't understand these simple fucking concepts? You do realize that these satellites have mass to it, right? So if it pops off, it's going to push against the satellite. You do realize how space works. So if it pops off, it's going to push against the satellite, causing it to move. And that is why the moon actually moves. It's not the moon doing the moving, it's the satellite. Do you not understand how references work?
Okay, so as it's orbiting at that slower speed, what would it do at the point where it's deploying the satellites that would cause the moon to appear to stay still? I understand that the moon's not moving, that it's the vehicle that is orbiting.
Do you not know that these rockets have something called RCS thrusters? RCS thrusters allow them to adjust the orientation at will. Now, why is it adjusting in that way? I don't know. I'm not a rocket scientist, but I do know this for a fact, that these things will orientate themselves in whatever orientation they need to be in order to make sure that the satellite deployment is successful. And if it is the actual thing that's...
The satellites themselves into their orbit. So they don't need any help from the deployer.
Yeah, they do.
No, they just come unclipped and they're already in orbit, and then they use their own little engines to put themselves where they need to be.
Not initially, no. You do realize that in order for them to have any sort of thing going on with the satellites by themselves, they first need to deploy the solar panels. In order to deploy the solar panels, in order to make sure you don't crash into it or fuck something up, you need to get the craft itself away from it.
I know what the...
Then you would have to explain to me why you asked the question, and I do fucking quote, then tell me how SpaceX has the capability of stopping the moon.
Yeah, it was a joke. Because if you watch this, it's as if the moon stops for whenever SpaceX needs to...
Okay, so you didn't jump to the conclusion that it was the moon moving. So what's the point of even bringing it up?
Because it's not realistic. It's not reality.
Oh, it's not realistic simply because you say so. Fuck the fact that it has a perfectly valid explanation for it. It's not real because you say so.
It doesn't have a perfectly valid explanation.
Yes, it does. The fucking craft is moving and not the moon. Oh, how crazy is that concept?
So then what is happening when the moon stops moving? The craft has stopped moving?
Possibly, yes.
What do you mean? Orbiting, it doesn't stop.
It can stop rotating on a certain axis, you idiot. You do realize that in order to go around the Earth, that's one thing, but to spin on a different plane is totally possible. You do realize that the International Space Station can change its orientation at will, the same with the Hubble and possibly the same with this. You know, when it comes to like spacecraft, we have this thing called gyros.
It doesn't matter. This thing right now, that moon could disappear and come back and disappear, and you would have an excuse for it. You would say, well, it's changing its view. It's a different camera angle.
Oh yeah, I remember this one. The same way the sun disappeared on that one video that you showed of the ISS, but it was in fact blocked by something actually attached to the spacecraft, which was obvious, yet somehow you still missed it. Got it.
This is why when people say, why don't you debate? I say, because it isn't a debate.
Structured debate where you actually bring your evidence to support your assertion that the Earth is flat. And then I bring evidence that proves that you are full of more shit than a backed up sewer. I think this is that the reason why you will not debate me, I already have an explanation for that. The reason why you will not debate me is because you know that you have absolutely nothing backing up your horseshit. That's why you don't debate me. You know that what I bring to the table, I bring stuff that is verifiable. I bring actual evidence and the mathematics to support it. You come back at me with an excuse saying you need 200 years before you'll even consider it.
What you consider to be sufficient evidence is what you just showed with that picture.
No. This is against something that you're jumping to conclusions for. I said that the